Hello, my dear children. Hope you all are doing good. Welcome back to the social science class. Let us continue with the study of the political science lesson, that is our constitution. So far in this lesson, I am sure you have understood about the Constituent Assembly of the Constitution, the Constitution Drafting Committee and the framing of the Constitution, the preamble to the Constitution, the salient features of the Constitution, and about the fundamental rights. Let us continue with the last part of the lesson, that is fundamental duties and directive principles of state policy. So children, pay attention and listen to the explanation and watch the video carefully. So children, you must know that the rights and duties are the two faces of the same coin. So the rights without duties have no value or significance. The fundamental rights are given to the citizens so that they may live a life that is with freedom without any problem. At the same time, it is the obligation of the citizens to fulfill certain duties towards the country. Therefore, we see 10 fundamental duties were included in the fourth chapter A part, that is in Article 51A with the 42nd Amendment to the Constitution. Later on, with the 86th Amendment in 2002, there are now 11 fundamental duties. Now let us understand one by one the fundamental duties. First one, to respect the Constitution, national flag and the national anthem. So as a citizen of the country, it is our duty to give respect to our Constitution, to respect our national flag and also the national anthem. That is why whenever the national anthem is being sung, we stand up as a sign of respect. Secondly, to follow the noble ideals that inspired our national struggle for freedom. Many freedom fighters have sacrificed their life so that our country should be free from the foreign rule. Therefore, we have to continue to follow those noble ideals. It could be like truth, non-violence, etc. Thirdly, to protect the integrity of India, the oneness of our country. Fourth point, to defend the motherland when called upon to do so. That is, from our side, whatever is possible, we should do in order to defend and protect our country. Fifth one, to promote the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India and disown those rituals that go against the dignity of women. So treat everybody equally, to have that feeling of brotherhood among all, and especially give respect to women. Sixth one, to preserve our cultural heritage. Our country has got a rich cultural heritage. We have to protect and preserve it. The seventh one, to protect and develop environment, that is including forest, lakes, rivers and wildlife, because they are the gifts of nature. We have to protect and preserve them and also show compassion to animals. It is a duty. Next one, to develop the scientific temper and the spirit of inquiry, to be more wise, to question why it is happening like this, what is the reason. The ninth one, to safeguard public property and to abstain from violence. Whatever is a public property, it could be a park, it could be a historical monument, where it could be a garden. It is our duty to protect, not to spoil, and never to resort to violence. 10th one, to strive towards excellence in all the spheres of individual and collective activities. As an individual, we should try to excel, we should try to improve ourselves in all the spheres, as an individual also and as a group, collective activity. And the last one, which was included in the year 2002, is that the parents or the guardians should provide an opportunity for education to their children from the age of 6 to 14 years. So it is compulsory that the parents should provide education to the children. So, unlike fundamental rights, there is no protection from a court of law with regard to duties. However, they will be punishable under law if they violate their duties. Okay, as a citizens, they have to discharge these duties towards the country. Now, let us study about the directive principles of state policy. With an aim to establish a welfare state, that is, a state which strives to achieve welfare of all the people, certain directive principles of state policy have been incorporated in the Constitution under the fourth part, that is from Article 36 to Article 51. These principles serve as guidelines to the state. They are like guidance to the state. The framers of our constitution, they were inspired by the Irish Constitution in order to include such principles. These directive principles are in the form of directions both to the central and the state governments. Through these, the government intends to provide economic, social, and political justice to its citizens. But these principles are based on ethics or moral values. So, if the governments, that is central or state, do not implement them, they cannot be questioned in a court of law. These principles are socialist and liberal and have been based on the Gandhian ideals. So, any individual or party that comes to power has to rule keeping these principles as guides. So, these principles are the what you can say guidelines to the government in order to help the country to function in a disciplined manner. Hence, these directives are called principles. Now, let us see one by one. So, it is the duty of the government to provide adequate means of livelihood to all the citizens. That is, they have to have proper shelter with their basic necessities. Secondly, to prevent the community wealth and resources from becoming the private property of a few people. Otherwise, what will happen? The rich will go on becoming richer and the poor will not get a chance to come up in their life. Therefore, to keep an eye or to check the private property of the people. Thirdly, to provide equal pay for equal work to both men and women. If they are doing the same work, so both of them have the right to get the same salary or the wages and to protect their labor welfare. The fourth point, to provide public assistance to those who are old, sick and weak or helpless. Those who are very weak and old, that is dependent on others, no? For them, the government should take care. That is by giving some pension and all that. The fifth point, to implement a uniform civil code throughout the country. That is, the rules and regulations is the same for all without any differentiation. The sixth one, to provide opportunities for the development of health and preschool education to all the children below 6 years. So, the government should see that the health of the children and also the education is not neglected. Seventh one, to protect historical monuments and maintain places of historical interest, whether it is a palace or a temple or any monument which was built or constructed in the past, the government should see the proper maintenance of it. Eighth one, to separate the executive from the judiciary. The ministers are separate as well as the courts are separate. The ministers cannot have a control over the courts. Ninth one, to protect international peace and to respect international law. That is, to have good relationship with the other countries. Tenth one, to establish Grama Panchayats, that is to develop the villages. Villages are mostly very backward. 11th one, to encourage rural and cottage industries, especially in the villages. People should not be without the jobs. Therefore, small household industries to be started for them. 12th one, to organize and develop agriculture and animal husbandry on modern lines. So, our country is a land of villages and agriculture is the main occupation. Therefore, steps should be taken to develop agriculture as well as animal husbandry, that is domesticating animals for milk and for other dairy products, for meat and for eggs and all. No, encouragement should be given, that also on modern lines. 13th point, to ensure prohibition of liquor, that is consuming alcohol is not good, to stop it. 14th one, to ensure development of farming based on scientific methods, that is again improving the agricultural sector on scientific methods. Modern methods should be introduced so that the output will be more, the farmers will be benefited. So, by this, we understand, children, that the directive principles of state policy are very important and they aim to achieve the social welfare of the citizens. While fundamental rights relate to an individual, the directive principles of state policy, it relates to a whole community, that is the whole nation. The central and the state governments are making attempts in order to implement all the principles or put them into practice. These principles aim at the holistic development in India. They are the indicators of the holistic development of our country. So, when the government work for the welfare of the people will lead a happy life and naturally the country will also progress and develop. So, with this I end today's topic, children. Hope you have understood the concept of our constitution. Take care and have a nice weekend.